When you hear the name the Iliad, you probably think Trojan War, right? Horses, walls, a decade of fighting. But what if I told you that's not what Homer's epic is really about? The war, that's just the stage. At its absolute core, the Iliad is a deep dive into the psychology of one man, the greatest warrior on the planet, and how his personal rage, his fury, brought his entire world to the brink of collapse. And it all kicks off with this line. That's Achilles venting to his mom, who just so happens to be a goddess. This one sentence, packed with betrayal and a profound sense of being disrespected, is the single match that lights the whole epic on fire. And you have to understand, it's not really about the prize itself. It's about what it represents, his honor. For a hero like Achilles, that's everything. And that's the central question the poem forces us to look at. I mean, what really happens when your star player, your one-man wrecking crew, just says, "I'm done," and walks off the field in the middle of the championship game? Well, the Greeks are about to find out the hard way, and the answer is a catastrophe. So to get this, we've got to go back. We're in the 10th year of the Trojan War. 10 years. You'd think the biggest problem would be, the Trojans. But nope. The real conflict, the explosion that's about to change everything, is brewing between two guys on the same side, King Agamemnon, the commander-in-chief, and Achilles, his untouchable star warrior. Okay, so what lights the fuse? A plague, a really nasty one, sent by the god Apollo. And why is Apollo so mad? Well, it turns out Agamemnon has taken a young woman, Chryseis, as a war prize. The problem? She's the daughter of one of Apollo's priests. Her dad begs for her back, offers a ransom, and Agamemnon basically tells him to get lost. Big mistake. Huge. Suddenly, his own soldiers start dying in droves. So this forces a confrontation. The argument boils down to this. Agamemnon is forced to give up Chryseis, and his ego is just shattered. He feels like he looks weak. To prove he's still the boss, he doesn't just ask for a replacement prize. He points right at Achilles and says, "Fine, I'll take your prize." The woman Briseis. For Achilles, this is the ultimate slap in the face. It's a public shaming. It's about his teammate, his honor, the physical proof of his value. It's like having your medals ripped off your chest in front of the whole army. And this is the point of no return. Agamemnon doesn't just ask. He delivers this threat, and it is just dripping with arrogance. He's literally saying, "I'm coming to take your stuff specifically to show you that I'm better than you." Wow. He has absolutely no idea what kind of fury he has just unleashed. So Achilles, feeling this profound dishonor down to his very soul, makes a decision that will alter the course of the war. He says, "That's it. I'm out." He's not just taking a day off, he is pulling himself and his elite soldiers, the legendary Myrmidons, completely out of the fight. He's going to sit by his ships, and he's going to watch Agamemnon's army get destroyed. The effect is immediate, and it is brutal. It's like pulling the engine out of a race car. The Greek war machine just completely falls apart. On the other side, the Trojans, led by their heroic champion Hector, they smell blood in the water. They surge forward, and one by one, the greatest Greek heroes, Agamemnon himself included, are wounded and dragged from the battlefield. Now, Agamemnon is in full-blown panic mode. His army is on the verge of annihilation, and he finally admits, okay, I messed up. So he sends a delegation, Achilles' closest friends, to his tent with the deal of a lifetime. We're talking mountains of gold, treasure, horses, even the promise of marriage to his own daughter. Anything. Just, please, come back and fight. But Achilles isn't moved, not one bit. For him, this was never about stuff. It was about respect. He delivers this raw, soul-bearing speech, basically saying that all the riches in the world can't repair the honor that Agamemnon so casually broke. The gifts mean nothing. The damage is done. And here's where the story takes a turn, because Achilles' rage, which up to this point you can kind of understand, is about to curdle into something much darker. His stubborn pride is about to trigger a tragedy far worse than anything he could have imagined, and it is going to cost him the one thing he truly loves. The situation goes from desperate to apocalyptic. Hector and the Trojans have actually broken through the Greek defenses and are setting fire to their ships, their only way home. The entire Greek army is minutes away from being totally wiped out. And still, Achilles sits. He just watches, trapped inside his own fury. In this final, desperate moment, his best friend, Patroclus, comes to him in tears, begging to let him do something, to let him help.
And Achilles is torn. He can't stand to watch all his comrades be slaughtered, but his pride is still too great to let him fight. So he makes a compromise. I won't fight, he says, but you can.
And the plan is simple, but it's brilliant. Patroclus will wear Achilles' armor. Now, this isn't just any armor. It's god-forged and instantly recognizable. The hope is that the mere sight of it will terrify the Trojans. They'll think their worst nightmare is back on the field, and that fear alone might give the Greeks a fighting chance.
At first, it's a wild success. Patroclus, dressed as Achilles, is an absolute force of nature. But he gets caught up in the heat of battle, he gets a little too cocky, and he forgets Achilles' one warning. Don't push your luck. He goes head-to-head with Hector himself, and he's killed. Hector strips the famous armor from his body as a war trophy.
When the news of Patroclus' death reaches Achilles, he is utterly shattered. His first rage, the one against Agamemnon, just vanishes. It's replaced by a grief so monstrous, it transforms into a terrifying, all-consuming need for vengeance. Now, he has only one purpose left in his life: to kill Hector. What happens next is just mythic horror. His goddess mother gets him a brand new suit of armor forged by the smith god Hephaestus. He formally reconciles with Agamemnon, not because he cares anymore, but just to get it out of the way. And then he returns to battle. And he's not a man anymore. He's a force of nature. He's so bloodthirsty, he literally chokes a river with dead bodies and ends up fighting the river god himself. Eventually, he confronts Hector. The Trojan champion knows he's doomed, but he bravely asks for one thing: that his body be returned to his family for burial. Achilles' reply is pure ice. He's completely empty of mercy. He tells Hector to die, and that he fully accepts that his own fate will follow soon after. But just killing Hector isn't enough to satisfy this new rage. Achilles does something so horrific it shocks mortals and gods alike. He ties Hector's corpse to the back of his chariot and drags it through the dirt, circling the walls of Troy again and again, all in full view of Hector's grieving family. This is the absolute bottom. Now, the story could have ended right there, with the hero lost completely to his own brutality. But Homer gives us one last, profound scene. In the dead of night, an old man begins an impossible journey deep into the heart of the enemy camp. That old man is Hector's father, King Priam, and he risks everything. Guided by the god Hermes, he walks alone, unarmed, right into the tent of the man who has slaughtered his children, the man who desecrated his favorite son, all to perform one last act of fatherly love, to beg for the body back. And this is the emotional core of the entire epic. Priam gets on his knees. He kisses the hands of Achilles, the very hands that killed his son. And he doesn't appeal to the warrior, he appeals to the son. He asks Achilles to think of his own father, Peleus, waiting and worrying for a son who he too might never see again. And in that moment, something inside Achilles finally cracks. Seeing this grieving father, he sees his own. The monstrous rage just dissolves, and it's replaced by a shared human grief. Achilles weeps with Priam. He lifts him up, returns Hector's body, and even agrees to a truce for the funeral. His humanity, which seemed lost forever, is restored. And so, the Iliad leaves us with this question. The story that began with a warrior's all-consuming rage ends with an act of profound empathy, and it forces us to ask ourselves, what truly defines greatness? Is it the godlike power to destroy your enemies, or is it the deeply human ability to find mercy for them, even in your darkest hour?